No, dude, fire away.
Cool. All right, everybody. With us this week, the one and only Jesse Palmer, the host of Bachelor Season 26, joins the podcast. Former NFL quarterback, broadcast extraordinaire, and now Bachelor host. Jesse Palmer, welcome to the podcast. And how's everything going?
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys. Everything's good. How we doing?
We're good. We're excited to have you on the Bachelor with the Bros. A little bit of a different interview on the Beers, Business, and Balls podcast, but let's dive right to it.
Yeah, Jesse, let's start it off. I mean, it's been 18 years since you were part of Bachelor Nation as a contestant. How's it feel? You know, take us through. You're back in the mix as a host now. You know, how's that like?
Yeah, it's wild. First off, it's way less stressful being the host versus actually being the Bachelor. You don't have to deal with any of the drama. You don't have to manage any of the relationships, worrying about sending the wrong person home. So that's one. Two, it's been really nostalgic. It's funny how in life you think you always remember everything about the big moments in your life. And when I was the Bachelor back in 2004, while I was playing on the New York Giants, that was a huge moment. The very first night on Clayton's season, when I was standing there watching the women pull up in the limo and watching Clayton and seeing him, man, I had this like tidal wave of emotions kind of come over me. And it was like those nervous feelings, the excited feelings, and the jitters, which I had completely forgotten about. And then fast forward to the first rose ceremony, I had like massive PTSD because I was just hoping he wasn't going to forget anybody's name like I did during my season. So, you know, I kind of like experienced the whole spectrum. And it's been really cool this year getting to sort of guide and give advice to Clayton based on some of the experiences I had as the Bachelor, because I know how bad Clayton wants to find love and get married, helping him. And he's a guy that I really genuinely like. It's been really, really cool. This has really kind of come full circle.
And of course, you know, they say every season is the most dramatic season of The Bachelor, but, you know, you've said it and many others have said it. This might be the most dramatic season of The Bachelor. Last week's episode, we saw, you know, Clayton asked you if he could take a rose back.
Right.
Years prior, you were the one, and you alluded to it, you messed up on someone's name, you ended up giving 2 roses. So it's kind of like that odd parallel of 2 different experiences. But what can we expect for next week's episode with that major cliffhanger?
Yeah, listen, I think the biggest theme of this season with Clayton is that on The Bachelor, there are no rules. Clayton is willing to do whatever it takes to find his person. You got to remember, Clayton never watched the show before he was on Michelle's season of The Bachelorette. So he doesn't care about any precedents that has been set before. I know for a lot of us who watch the show, sometimes things seem kind of formulaic. We're used to things happening a certain way. A certain amount of roses get handed out at this rose ceremony. It's what we expect. This is when they travel, et cetera, et cetera. Clayton is willing to do things his way. He is a real dude. And he's going to take risks. He's going to take chances to inevitably get where he wants to go. Clayton's at a bit of a crossroads right now, as you mentioned. Of course, Sierra's come to him, told him that Cassidy told her that she's got a friends with benefits back home. That's affected Clayton because he feels like he has a pretty strong relationship and connection with Cassidy at this point. So he's come to me now asking, has anybody ever taken a rose back? We've already seen a couple of firsts. 3 women self-eliminated themselves on the very first episode. He offered a rose to somebody before they even got to the mansion. Now he's about to become potentially the first Bachelor to ever take a rose back and do it very, very early on in his journey. And this is just going to whet your beak for what's about to happen over and over and over again as we move through Clayton's season. Lots of firsts and lots of eye-opening experiences.
Yeah, so Jesse, would you say that if you had to describe Clayton's journey, the phrase would be, if you had to give a little phrase, it'd be firsts. You know, it was the first of a lot of firsts here. Or I guess if I had to ask you a question, if you had to use one word to describe the journey, what would you use?
Yeah, great question. I agree with your assessment. I would say firsts, probably genuine or authentic or real. He really is a sweet guy who comes from a small town. He's got great core values. And again, he wants this so bad. I don't know if I've ever met anybody in my life that wants to get married as bad as he does and have kids. Like, there's no ulterior motive with Clayton. He's not trying to grow his IG. I doubt he's going to be on Dancing with the Stars. Like, he wants to get married, and he wanted it yesterday. You remember on Michelle's season when he talks about that and having kids. Here's this big football player who just breaks down and starts crying. He gets emotional about it. He wears it on his sleeve. He only knows how to do things one way, and that's his way, by being authentic to himself and being real. And because of that, to your point, there are so many firsts this season. There are so many moments in real time that I, as the host, and our producers were like, okay, where does this go now? We're totally now going off the beaten path. And as a host, I got to sort of go there with him to help him get to where he wants to go. So I would say authentic, real, and first would be the three words I would use to describe it.
And speaking of firsts, I would say this is the first time that we've been able to travel again. It's been a few seasons since we've been able to kind of leave a bubble. If you're allowed to share, I'm personally not the best with geography, so I tried to figure out through the trailers where you were able to go, but are you able to share where we are going to go through Clayton's journey in terms of locations?
I'm not allowed to say specifically where, but you're absolutely right. We do sort of get back to that jet set Bachelor feel. I can also share that I'm pretty pissed off because I didn't get to do any of this stuff back in 2004. I'm like, bro, I mean, listen, and I love Quebec City and Washington, D.C. and the Caribbean. They were amazing, amazing places for me. Like the budget of this show has just gone through the roof in the time since I was on. Clayton has it pretty good. I mean, you've already seen the dude take a helicopter, land it on a yacht, and get in a hot tub with Susie and start like popping champagne. Like that's already better than anything I did. We're about to take it to like the umpteenth level. So yes, the show did an amazing job during the pandemic of sort of orchestrating it and working its way through it. I thought they did incredible, but I think Bachelor Nation is going to get back to that familiarity this season of seeing these ultra luxurious locations and dates once we get back to traveling again.
Yeah, no, that's very exciting. I can't wait to see. And something that I guess the fans have already been able to see is the mansion. We're back at the mansion. I know this is your first time at the mansion. I would love to know kind of like, what is the environment when you're actually inside that Bachelor mansion?
It's amazing. I was kind of fanning out the first night I was there. So I kind of got there before I met Clayton for the first time when he got out of the limo. And I'm walking through it. And like you, and you're right, that's a different mansion. And again, kind of to our point before, a way better mansion than the one I had when I was on the show. So I'm kind of going through room to room and I'm looking around and I'm like, oh yeah, like that's where the rose ceremony takes place. That's right. That's the table I put the first impression rose down. Cool. Go outside. Oh, that's the fireplace that Champagne Gate happened at on Peter's Beach. I totally remember. Yeah, this is it. And so it was really cool for me. It really is an amazing, amazing house that the women are living in now. They're very, very lucky. It was really, really cool. Just as a member of Bachelor Nation and as a fan, for me, seeing it for the first time was pretty neat.
Yeah, no, that's pretty incredible. That's definitely a dream, as someone who's been watching the show for years, getting to see the mansion, and then also you get to experience going to all the different locations. I'm curious, Jesse, if you're allowed to share, what are you doing when you're not on camera? You're are you just there? Are you kind of secluded? Like, kind of what's it like being not like you're the host, but you're not really seen too much in the show?
Sure. So I try to see everything that I can. It's not like I'm being the creepy guy, like kind of in the shadows in a plant, like over in the corner, like try to like eavesdrop on everything. But I am watching from a very safe and hopefully very secret location to see everything that's happening on group dates, on one-on-ones, as we travel, obviously in the mansion, cocktail parties, rose ceremonies, all of the above. I'm sort of always around, trying to make sure that I'm as informed as I can be, so that if Clayton does have a question or he needs help or any advice, I can hopefully offer the best advice that I can in that moment.
Jesse, this is not unfamiliar territory for you to be the host of a show, right? You've had some good preparation, working for Fox as a color commentator, NFL Network for the draft, and more recently ESPN for college football. And now you're the Bachelor host, so you must have learned so much from those experiences on TV, moderating discussion. What do you think prepared you most for this opportunity now as the host of The Bachelor?
Man, that's a great question. Well, obviously, having been the Bachelor and sort of understanding the construct of everything, it definitely helped. Live sports, though, really, I think is a great is a great vehicle for preparing for situations like this, because you have to tap dance a lot and you sort of got to be in real time, and nothing's scripted, just like sports. So you don't know where it's going. You might think you have an understanding of what's about to happen, but nobody anticipates Josh Allen going out against the Patriots last weekend and just leading the offense and having it look like
Sore
that.
subject, real sore.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Sorry about that. And so that's kind of like what it's like on The Bachelor too. Like especially this season with Clayton, because it can literally go any direction at any given time. And you've got to be able to follow the action. You got to be present in the moment. So I think my sports background and covering football, ironically, in a weird way, it really has helped me out a lot for this.
And just to close out the show, I mean, obviously former NFL quarterback for my Giants and the 49ers, we would be remiss if we didn't ask who's going to the Super Bowl, and can the 49ers make a little spark?
Man, okay. Well, I'm going to start in the AFC, and it never feels like a good thing to bet against Mahomes in Kansas City, but I'm telling you, the way the Buffalo Bills are playing right now, they're peaking at the right time. I think they're going to represent the AFC. They've got the quarterback, best defense in the NFL. They're dominating in the trenches. I think they're the team from the AFC. I love the Packers. I love the Niners. I don't think the Niners can get by Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau, but I don't know how you guys feel about this. It's still so hard to bet against Tom Brady at this point. Like, who in their right mind can do that? And I know, we're all wondering, well, does he have the weapons around him on offense right now with some of the injuries? How quickly can Fournette come back? The Tristan Wirfs injury to me is the one that's actually probably the most scary, and his protection, especially against a team like the Rams. But the defense is getting healthy. Todd Bowles is one of the best defensive callers. And Brady throws the ball great in cold weather. They're probably going to have to go through Lambeau. I don't know how you bet against them. Bills, Bucks, Bills Mafia in Los Angeles at SoFi. Let's go. I'd be happy. I'll take that. Let's go.
Jesse, thanks so much, man. We appreciate you taking some time to close out. Where can our listeners follow you guys? Where can they find your content? And how can they keep up with The Bachelor this season?
Yeah, obviously they're watching The Bachelor Monday nights, 8/7 Central on ABC. They can stream it on Hulu. There's a lot of social media, Instagram, Twitter surrounding that as well. They can follow me at Jesse Palmer on Instagram, Jesse Palmer TV on Twitter, and just come along for the ride. This thing has just started with Clayton. Trust me. It's just we're literally just taking off. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jesse. Good luck the rest of the year, and we're excited to tune in next week.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.